easy bit of just putting the shoes away.
Daisy, are you suntanning? Are you enjoying this glorious spring-like day? Beautiful, isn't it?
Good morning, Beachy. How did you sleep last night? Oh, that's a big stretch. Aren't you cute? You want some cuddles? Hello friends and welcome to this week's vlog. Last weekend we attended a Pharaoh Exhibition at the National Gallery of Victoria. If you're in Melbourne or visiting Melbourne until October 6th, I highly encourage you to visit this landmark exhibition that celebrates 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian art and culture. Through more than 500 objects, including monumental sculptures, architecture, temple statuary, exquisite jewellery, papyrus, coffins, and a rich array of funerary objects, the exhibition unpacks the phenomenon of Pharaoh, those all-powerful kings claiming a divine origin. The exhibition comprises 7 thematic sections that explore the pharaoh's roles and duties, including as the high priest officiating in temples, the head of the country's administration, the leader of the army, and the head of the royal family. The pharaohs were responsible for protecting Egypt against its enemies and ensuring universal order. They ruled the 2 lands, Upper and Lower Egypt, from the first dynasty of roughly 3000 BCE until the Roman conquest in 30 BCE. From imagery on rings, bracelets, and personal treasures to statues and monuments of colossal scale, the pharaohs presented an idealized image of themselves as invincible warriors and fervent worshippers of the gods, who held a unique position as intermediaries between those divine beings and the rest of humanity. Nevertheless, behind these idealized representations, the reality of kingship was much more complex. Not all the pharaohs were male or even Egyptian. Despite the king's supreme status as a ruler over all, Egypt was periodically racked by civil war, conquered by foreign powers, and even ruled by competing kings. Through a carefully curated selection of exceptional objects, Pharaoh explores the realities of mythologies and iconographies of kingship in ancient Egypt. The exhibition is divided into 2 parts, spanning the entirety of the National Gallery's ground levels. Allow a few hours as it can get busy, and I would highly recommend you visit the second part first, especially if you're short on time, as that is the more visually exciting and also bigger, and leave the first section for last. This worked for us, and we were glad we did that, as we didn't realize how much time it would take to get through the second section of the exhibition, and we're left with only half an hour to see the first section. Later that night, we visited a bar in Carlton that has a jazz playing regularly. This is well worth coming to experience. The band was fabulous and it is free. All you need to do is buy a drink at the bar. Non-alcoholic drinks count, but get there early as it does fill up very quickly and it becomes standing room only. It's not a gaggle, it's a mob of kangaroos.
Why is it so stupid that when there's a group of geese, they're a gaggle? When there's a heap of birds, they're a flock. They're a sheep. Sheep. What do you call it, birds? Birds is
I don't know.
think Coco's just sleepy, she doesn't even know.
She'll get away with it somehow.
Because, look, hon, these were the chocolate chips I used, and it's only, milk's only in the main cookie present.
Ah, cool.
So it should be
Right.
fine.
Get me a baby present.
Maybe day. Bring back. Bring back. Bring back. Back. Just put on my makeup. Well, I've just showered after exercising this morning and my hair was too weighed down with product. I put in it too much oils and conditioners on Monday, so I needed to wash it again, especially since I've been exercising twice a day now. I walk for half an hour in the morning and then I go to Reformer Pilates at night with my daughter. So it just gets a little bit too limp for my hair, for my liking. So anyway, I washed it and one of you asked me to show you how I use my Dyson to style my hair, and fingers crossed it will turn out today. Sometimes, you know, you have a good hair day, sometimes you don't. So I put on my makeup and I'm loving using the Enco Beauty products at the moment. Actually, before I do that, let me spray some root lifter. I'm just using the Husk Mint Almond Oil Root Thickening Spray. I've had this for a while now and I just use it anytime I feel my hair, even though it's fine, it does, the length makes it feel a little bit heavier, and so it doesn't get as much root lift as it could naturally. So I just put this on and rub it into the roots. Now I know many of you will be hairdressers and will be gasping at what I do with my hair, but anyway, I'm not a hairdresser. What I'm putting into the ends is some Aveda Be Curly Curl Enhancer, because I'm going to be curling my hair with the Dyson, or creating waves with the Dyson, and so this will help and also act as a bit of a protectant. And I also add the Lucetta Biotin and Collagen Heat Protecting Spray. I've been loving this. It hasn't really weighed my hair down, but it does help it. I feel like, well, I actually haven't had my hair cut for 12 months now, well over 12 months now. So considering that, I don't have any split ends. So fingers crossed, whatever I'm doing is working on the health of my hair. Probably the collagen powder that I'm having, probably the products, and the fact that I'm using the Dyson rather than styling my hair with a hot tool like a straightener and using that as a curler. I feel that that has ensured that my hair stays healthier. I find the Dyson is a lot more gentle on my hair strands, and anyway, that's what I'm putting it down to. Anyway, I use the hair drying attachment and dry off my hair. And what I do is I try and lift it as I dry it so that it adds a little bit of volume. Okay, it's about 90% dry. And I take that off, comb any knots out. I just find that it makes it easier. So you can see that my hair does need a bit of a trim because there are dry ends. Okay, and then what I do is I section it off just above my ears all the way back. I don't have a lot of hair, so I find that that's enough for me to be able to work with manageable chunks of hair. Comb it out, and you can see that I do tend to have very frizzy hair. It's sort of wavy, but not quite. So what I do now is I just straighten it out and smooth it out with the curling brush attachment. And then I change out and I start curling it a bit and add the biggest rounding brushes. I can never remember which direction goes where, so it's always trial and error. And what I do is I just pull it through that way. So it creates more of a tighter curl. And no, I don't cool it or anything like that. I'm just too lazy. Then I swap it to the other curler. And I let it drop by itself. And I find that this just gives it a nice, easy wave curl to my hair. Next section, I just went above or at my temples here, and I just went right across the back, and I basically did the same thing. Changed the attachment to the curler again. Take those sections and straighten them a bit. I'm not really too fussy about these sections because they are going to be covered by the top layer. I just straighten them a little bit with the curler and flatten the cuticles a little bit. One thing I hate about this tool is the fact that you do have to keep swapping out all the attachments. But when you don't have a lot of hair, like I do, so I don't have a lot of hair, it doesn't take that long. But if you had a lot more hair than me, then that would be a bit annoying. And now the top end. This is the fringe bit that I will treat differently. And then this is the back section. These are all the old hair that needs to be cut. Very fine. It is damaged, but anyway. You see, the curls aren't very tight curls. They're just sort of loose beachy waves, as I like to call them. Okay, and now the top bit. I used to pat my hair completely to that side because I have a huge cowlick, but I've stopped doing that, and now I pat it down the center, a little bit off center, and I find that that's a little bit better. For this top section, I don't use the curling wand. I just use all the brush. I just use this, and I find that this is enough to straighten the top bits and create a little bit of curls around my face. And now let them drop naturally. But before they start dropping, I just add a little bit of spray. And I'm just using at the moment the Keratin Strength. And I basically just comb out the curls. And once I'm happy with them, then I spritz them so that they stay. And that's it. I don't mind the fact that some curls have already dropped. I actually like that look. I find that I feel like it gives it a more natural look. Like I've just woken up and gotten out of bed like this. Anyway, off to work now. I have a video to edit. And then I don't feel like this week is actually quite turning out the way I had anticipated. I'm feeling like I really want to get into my wardrobe and start tidying it up, but I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the job, the size of the job and the tasks. So I'm just going to break it down and just work on my shoe section and replace the hangers with the shoe rack. So my task now is to go and get my video edited, and then this afternoon I'll work in my wardrobe. Fingers crossed it works like that. I finished editing my video, so now as a reward, I'm cleaning out my shoe cabinet, or closet, or my shoe selection to show you the new setup for my shoes, which includes the shoe stand that I bought from Myer recently. So I'll get that set up. I'll just bring it closer and show you what my current shoe organization looks like.
My wardrobe is in severe need of a declutter and reorganization. Last time I did a declutter, I introduced a new system where whenever there was something that wasn't fitting me right, or that I didn't like, or that I wasn't going to be wearing anymore, I would actually put them in this basket here. Well, it worked so well that it's actually overflowing. So this bundle really needs to go to savers or donation bins that are available near me. So that is going to be done. But here is my shoe storage solution at the moment. So I have a wooden rack that I think I bought from Bunnings, which is the last one that I have here. And then above it, I have these hanging shoe storage solutions that I bought from Spotlight probably last year, and they have done me well. They work well. I love how well, I don't love, I like how they work. I've got all my sneakers in there and my summer sandals or flip-flops on that side, but I find that there's a lot of wasted space behind there because they don't go all the way back to the back of the wall. And I also find that they're a little bit visible from this side, and I don't know, I'm thinking that there's a better way of storing my sneakers and my runners in a way that makes better use of the space that I have there. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to bag up all the clothes in that pile, tidy this up, set up the stand, and yeah, reorganize my shoes. Good to start with a little bit of a cleanup. It's amazing how much dust accumulates in odd corners. Let's open this up, okay? That's not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting these to be dirty shelves. Okay, I guess for $25 you can't expect much, can you? Let's have a look at this. Wait, does it have instructions? Better keep those, eh? Okay, so it looks like these rods slide in here. Now, let me check if my measurements are correct. No. I could have sworn I'd measured it. And it felt like it was the right size. I obviously made a mistake somewhere in my calculations. Get my husband to cut those metal rods for me. Remeasure. I get him to remeasure because he's actually quite precise when it comes to measurements, whereas I'm more, yeah, it'll do, it'll fit, I'll make it work, whereas he's a lot more precise. So I'll get him to remeasure it for me and figure out how much has to be cut, and then get him to do it tonight while I'm at the gym, and hopefully I can take up this project again tomorrow. Beautiful job. How easy was that?
Not very easy.
Not very easy. Thank you. While I was at the gym yesterday, Kevin finished assembling this for me. He felt quite handy. I think my husband just used a little jigsaw that he had to trim them back. They're very easy, these rods, to trim back, and then he just had to cut these shelves, the liners, to size in order to make them fit. So he probably cut about 1.5 to 2 inches off the liners, and he cut about 3 inches, I'd say, about 9 centimeters off the rods. Everything else then was just quite easy to put aside or put together. Took me a little while, but he did a really good job. So let's get started with putting all the shoes back and see if I can fit any more or any less than what I had before. Right, so it looks like it doesn't fit as many shoes as the hanging shoe rack does, But I did have these boxes, stackable shoe boxes that I bought from Bunnings a while ago, which I'd never gotten around to assembling. And I'm thinking that if I assemble them, then I can put them in this higher section to store things like my flip-flops that I don't use all the time and that I could, in theory, just put in there to make it easier to grab and go without necessarily having them to be neatly stacked like that, because this takes up a lot of space. Well, there's actually a lot of wasted space above my flip-flops and the smaller shoes. For the runners, it's fine, but for these two top rows, I think I could use those. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, I'm not disappointed. I was hoping to fit more shoes than what I had.
So looking at it from here, the shoes don't stand out as much as they used to before. In fact, from this angle, you don't even know that they're there in that corner. So I really like the look of that. And this is what the new shoe stand looks like. And I think I'm happy with that. I do need to do a declutter of behind these doors. It's a little bit too full for my liking, but I'm finding it a little bit overwhelming to get to it. So it will be the task for another day.
I like to make my own breadcrumbs. My daughter Charlotte works at a bakery, and so we have fresh bread that sometimes doesn't get used up. So I turn it into breadcrumbs and use it, especially when I make schnitzel for dinner. And tonight I'm making schnitzel and I'm using very thinly sliced pork. But first I'm drying the bread out in a very low heat in the oven before blitzing it in the KitchenAid into fine crumbs. Sometimes I blitz it when it's just stale and not put it in the oven, just because I find that creates a chunkier finish for when I'm using thicker cuts of meat or chicken. To my breadcrumb mix, I add grated parmesan, chili flakes, salt, and Italian herbs, my usual trifecta of seasoning. And then I mix it all together. I coat each slice of meat in the flour, then dunk it into the beaten eggs, and then coat it with the breadcrumb mixture. After a while of turning it into schnitzel, I decided to separate the pork slices and actually create like a bigger slice, insert or put a second layer of a slice of ham in it, a piece of cheese in the middle, and then roll it up and turn it into little pork rolls that I then dunked into the flour, egg wash, and the breadcrumbs. And then I'll fry them off and make little pork rolls, I suppose you'd call them. That's an invention of mine. I haven't followed a recipe, so I just thought I'd see how it turns out. I'll just put these in the fridge to dry up a little bit and absorb, and then I'll cook them off later in some oil. I ended up actually putting the pork rolls in the air fryer. They came out really crispy. The cheese melted and got all gooey inside. I served it with a salad. I have to say I liked them, but my family didn't like them too much. I think they were a little bit too bland for them, and the cheese wasn't gooey enough because in the air fryer it actually melted out. So maybe I'll try something different next time. Instead of putting ham in it, I might put salami or prosciutto, which would be a little bit more tasty and a little bit saltier. Good morning, it's Friday. It's just gone on 8:28. I'm catching up with my aunt at High Point today, 2 weeks in a row. What can I say? Sometimes it just happens like that. I'm wearing my beautiful new striped black and cream shirt, boyfriend shirt from Kmart, and I'm ready to go. Sorry about the glare of my hand there. I'll try and edit that out. So I'm off to High Point to have coffee and a catch up with my aunt, and then I'll pop in and have a lunch with my mum and then back home. I don't know that this week has actually panned out the way I had planned it to pan out. Let's chat for a little bit. So Monday I had intended to start a whole spring clean in this week. It didn't work out that way. I didn't feel well Monday, so it sort of just barely ended up being Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I edited and just worked. And yesterday I finally put my shoe cabinet together and put all my shoes in it. I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. I love the way it's set up. I actually have greater visibility of my shoes, and it makes it easier every day to just pick the shoes that I want. Oh no, it's starting to rain. The beautiful spell of spring-like weather that we've had this week is over. Today it's going to rain. The sky's grey and cloudy, and it's just hate rainy days. It's just sunshine makes me feel so much better. What can I say? Put all my shoes away, and it makes life so much easier getting dressed in the morning, trying to find the right pairs of shoes. Because the way I had them before, yes, I could see the shoe, but they were quite cramped. So I'm loving the new setup. So if you're thinking about buying that stand, provided it fits in the dimensions that you have, it's easy to assemble. If you've got to cut it to size, that's also easy to do if you're a little bit handy. So I'm happy with that. Yes, so I'm off to High Point. I'm not sure what else will I be able to vlog today, whether if anything. Oh yes, today, before I forget, I went to Reformer Pilates at 6 a.m. with my daughters, and that was fun. Let me tell you, I've been going to Pilates now 5 days in a row, and am I feeling my age? Or my lack of fitness, let's put it that way. Not my age, just my lack of fitness. I'm feeling every muscle in my body, which is a great thing, don't get me wrong. I like that because it makes me realize that I'm actually using my muscles and getting toned and fit, which is my main aim for this. There is a wedding in late November that I'd like to look toned for, so that I have better options or more options on what to wear. So I've got that at the back of my mind that's sort of driving me to get my butt in order and actually exercise. I didn't walk today, but because I figured that, well, A, the Pilates class wasn't available at night, and B, so we're having the Pilates class first thing in the morning, and B, I thought, well, I'll be walking with my aunt, so that's going to rack up steps for me for today. So yes, so I highly recommend, if you're looking for something that's low impact, but that really makes your body feel like it's exercising without draining you, like it's not high impact. If you're not looking for something that's high impact, then I highly recommend for you to try out Reformer Pilates. I love it. I am a complete convert to it. I find it's different to yoga, because yoga is more flow options, whereas Reformer Pilates goes for 45 minutes, so it's not too long for the body, and they do work all different types of muscle groups, and you do feel it after a while, especially if you go every day like I've been doing. It's not something that I will do when we sign up, probably next week. I aim to go maybe 3 times a week to Reformer Pilates. I think that will be sufficient. But yeah, I'm loving it. Highly encourage you, if you're thinking about doing some sort of low impact weight bearing activity, I can thoroughly recommend Reformer Pilates. You don't come out feeling, oh well, the first night I came out feeling really sweaty, but afterwards all the others I haven't really been coming out that way. I come out feeling like my body has worked out, but I haven't felt any DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. I haven't felt any of that afterwards, so I'm really happy with it, and I'm hoping that I will stick it out, and I think I will, because I go with my youngest daughter Charlotte. So I find that if you go with a friend or with a family member, you're more likely to stick to a routine. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite parts are, and I'll see you next time. Bye.